Cam Coleman is unreal, man.
In the world full of podcasts, he's the undisputed heavyweight champion of hot takes, an Auburn sports homer, master of the boog, and message board legend. Get your buttons buttoned and your hats flattened because the Top Button Podcast is about to kick off. And you don't want to miss your courtside seat. Now, here's your host, Charlie Five.
Yes, sir. We're back again. It's another episode of the Top Button Podcast. I'm your host, Kyle Rush, a.k.a. Charlie Five, and we are ready to get after it. Going to switch gears and start looking forward to Texas A&M. We'll have to sprinkle in a little bit of Oklahoma for context. But today we're going to talk about Cam Coleman and his ability to take over at times and how we need to utilize that moving forward. There's a couple of things that we're neglecting, and we'll talk about why that may be the case. And then we're going to talk about who has earned the right to be the first running back out. Got a good argument for both, and we'll get into that in just a second. But before we do that, let's give a quick shout out to Rowback.com. Use coupon code BARN20 to take 20% off your order. Polos, hoodies, pullovers, doesn't matter. They even have Auburn licensed apparel as well. Use that coupon code BARN20 to save 20% and go check them out, man. You'll love the way it feels. You'll love the way it looks. You'll just love it overall. So show them some love. A lot of love. So much love for Rowback.com. One of the bright spots of the game was Cam Coleman. And there's a lot, in my opinion, to build on moving forward. We've really yet to be able to stretch the field vertically. You got the long touchdown pass against South Alabama, and that's really the only time you've really maybe even targeted Cam deep up until this point. And then in this past game, I think he had at least, he had the 4 catches. One of them was the 2-yard touchdown catch. But I'm going to call that a deep ball because, I mean, that's the way it was thrown vertically, as vertical as you could throw it from the 2-yard line. Every single one of his targets almost were deep balls. I think he had maybe 6 or 7 targets for 4 catches. Cam Coleman is, when you're running a vertical route, there may not be many in college football that are better. May not be any when he runs a vertical route. That's just his comfort zone. Catching the ball over his shoulder, high pointing, running north-south. That to me seems like his bread and butter. That's when he's most comfortable. It was so impressive to see, I guess, I know the guy they were picking on was a freshman, but it's impressive to see that there are times when there's just really nothing you can do. He's just going to be better than you. There's so much pressure that he puts on you with that stop and go because he runs his route so incredibly well. And he does get a lot of receptions on those comeback routes. So there's so much pressure, and it's so great to have a weapon that at times you can just be better than the other guy. Like there's no real play call. It's just that guy's better than your guy. We're going to give him a shot. And that's the way it felt at times. And you honestly wished you may do that a little bit, would see that a little bit more throughout the game. Even he had 2 that he had his guy completely beat, and he's just out of his reach on making those plays that both could have been touchdowns. You're just better. The one thing I want to see, Jackson has to get in the mindset similar to, and Bo Nix, there were memes about this. Bo Nix would do this a lot with Seth Williams, where when things broke down and he knew that he had Seth on, vertically, just put it up there. Don't take a sack. Just put it up there in his direction. There are so many memes that would just say, oh, screw it. Seth Williams got to be down there somewhere. Like, in other words, Bo's not even paying attention. on where it's going. He just knows Seth Williams has got to be down there somewhere. Let's just throw it up to him. That's something to me that hopefully they can look at on film this week. And it's funny how normally your checkdowns are typically your running backs and maybe a tight end or a wide receiver that hangs out around the line of scrimmage. Those are typically your checkdowns. But Cam vertically may as well just be a check down as well because he's so good. He's so good north-south. It's really incredible. It's good to see because sometimes I know you worry about him getting the exposure that he deserves. You worry about him being able to get the production that he deserves. I think one of the announcers said that, or I can't remember if it was on ESPN or if it was on where it was, or if it was just a tweet from an analyst or something like that. But, he deserves to be in the conversation with Jeremiah Smith. You don't see it as much because we still kind of struggle to be able to get that passing game going sometimes. But boy, oh boy, when they put the ball in the air and it's just him one-on-one, he's going to win the vast majority of those battles. The fade route, I mean, that he loves that play. He knows there's so many little things that he does that just show you that's his comfort zone. I was looking at his pass, pass reception chart, and we're going to get to attacking the middle in just a minute. But he's really good when he's 10 yards and under, and he's really good when he's 20 yards and over. We don't really attempt to get him the ball beyond 10 yards, like that 10 to 20-yard window. And again, we're going to talk about that. If you had one weakness with Cam, to me, it's when he's running left to right or right to left. So those drag routes, those slants, or anything where he's running hard across the middle, that to me is probably the one weakness. And it could be why you're not attacking the middle like maybe you should or you could. And again, I don't want to foreshadow too much. But as these games progress, as these games become more and more important and wins become more vital, not saying this last game wasn't, but it's over with. So then you got to go to the next game. As you're playing these games, Cam is going to have to be utilized even more. I think he's had 21 targets through 4 games. That's not awful, okay? That's about 5 targets a game. And we can have a whole discussion about how you get somebody a target. But he's going to have to be more involved as the year goes on. Like that number's going to have to go up. And I'm wondering if maybe they found something this past week that really helped him get isolated on those one-on-one opportunities. Because he's really, really too good to waste. You can't waste this year with him. You're going to Texas A&M. He's going to have a target on his back, so you're going to have to work that much harder. You're going to have to scheme that much better to get him the ball. Not that he wasn't already known, but he's kind of put everybody on notice by his performance against Oklahoma, which is one of the best defenses in the country. Maybe the best. He's got to carry this offense, man. He's got to be your dude, I think, going forward. When you got to pick up a big play, you got to be looking at Cam. When you get in the red zone, it ought to be almost automatic. When you get in the red zone, he's got to get a vertical target in the end zone. I mean, it's almost a automatic. He's going to get a pass interference or he's going to catch it. He just doesn't lose those battles very often. It's really fun to watch a guy that just knows he's better than the other guy. Watch him go out there and actually do it. It's a pleasure to watch. I mean, it's so much fun to watch him play football. I want to see more of him. Auburn left a very vital zone, just completely unutilized against Oklahoma. I want to talk about that here in just a second. We'll be back right after this. Piggybacking off of the Cam Coleman deal. Cam's really good from 10 yards and under, and Cam's really good from 20 yards and over. It's that 10 to 20 magic zone where Auburn as a whole, this offense as a whole, seems to sort of leave completely. Either you can't do it, you can't see it, or you can't scheme it. That 10 to 20 yard intermediate area, Auburn really struggles. I thought you had something you could really build off of after that South Alabama game because Eric Singleton had, I think, 4 big catches in that magic zone. We're talking dead center of the field, about 12 yards down the field, wide open. And I was like, man, we've got something here. If you can scheme that area open, how debilitating what was some of those last drives from Oklahoma. Now, look, those passes may not have been going all the way 10 yards. They may have been right there at the 10-yard mark. But how debilitating is it when you feel like you have everybody covered and then someone leaks across the middle right there at that 10-yard mark? They catch it and they already have a first down, and there's the area, all that area around them to go after the catch. We don't, at least up until this point, and it could be one of the weaknesses of this offense that you gotta figure out. That 10 to 20 intermediate zone is just not in the playbook right now. It may be in the playbook, but we can't pull it off. And it could be a number of things. It could just be that defenses are limiting Auburn there. Their defenses are saying, look, we'll keep it in front of us, or we'll take our chances with a deep ball, but we're not going to give up the intermediate stuff. That could be part of it. You got to figure out your way around that. It could be that Jackson can't quite see it. Maybe that's why the trigger is tough to pull sometimes, because maybe we're calling some of those routes in those areas, and that's where he's a little bit more nervous because the windows are tighter, and you have to have some anticipation when you rip one in that area. And then it could be some. I don't think that you're just completely ignoring that part of the field because maybe some of the receivers struggle with those type routes. I mean, Eric Singleton hasn't had any issues. I don't think even Horatio Fields, Malcolm Simmons, like those guys, there's a lot of different options. Like just because Cam struggles running east-west and making a reception, that doesn't mean everybody does. Moving forward, if you look in that middle of the field, Auburn only attempted 2 passes in that area, I think, against Oklahoma, and is 0 for 2. That's, to me, has got to change. The throw right in front of you, it should be one of the easiest throws for a quarterback. One of the shortest throws, 10, 12 yards straight in front of you, those ought to be easy. You're not looking off to the sideline. Boom, it's right there in front of you. That part's got to get figured out, I think. It's going to be really hard to either go dink and dunk or bomb, and that's it. You know what I mean? You throw it, you make a bunch of short throws, and then you're making deep throws, and that's it. I think that's something that they got to get in the film room. They got to figure out as you move forward. You got to open up that intermediate pass game, or it's going to be one of those all or nothing type offenses, and you're going to have a lot of frustrating drives where you have a lot of potential, but you can't move the chains because you have a couple of incompletions and you don't have anything in that. You don't have anything in that little go zone that you can go to the well and call to move the chains. So we'll see how that happens, but I think the intermediate zone's got to be figured out. Auburn's got to figure out how to attack the middle of the field better. You got too many weapons. Got to figure that out. Let's talk about running back one situation. There's an argument to me for both. Who's the guy that needs to be the guy? Which one of these guys needs to be the guy? When it comes to just pure running back ability, in other words, I turn around, give you the ball, and you go make something happen. To me, it's without a doubt, it's got to be Jeremiah Cobb. He has so much explosive ability. You saw it on his, I think it was a 44-yard run. That run was between the tackles. He broke 2 or 3 different tackles there and then had the speed to kind of walk away from guys for a while until some of those defensive backs kind of corralled him. Shoot, I think Mason Thomas was another one that kind of ran him down at that point in time, and he's a freak. But he's, to me, without a doubt, he has the most wiggle. He has the most burst. I'm very, very proud of the back he's become. 6 carries, 61 yards. He did have 44 of the 61 come on one play. Would have liked to have gotten him a little bit more involved. No, I think in the passing game he can get more involved. Would love to get him in that 10 to 12 carry range just because it feels like every third or fourth carry he's going to pop one. I love what I'm seeing out of him. He's becoming a much better running back when he gets the ball. Where he struggles is in pass blocking, and that's where Damari Alston, other than the very, very last play where we gave up the safety, there were multiple times, and I think if you look at his pass blocking grade, it was better than most of the offensive linemen. Damari may not have the burst, may not have the wiggle that Jeremiah does, but he is an all-around really good running back. He's really good on that check down. 3 catches for 24 yards. And check downs are not necessarily – check downs for a running back a lot of times is more experience and knowledge than it is running a route. Like, check downs aren't just necessarily, I'm just going to run out there and turn around and I'm there. It's like a called pass play, a called route. It's not typically what check downs are. The check down happens when the running back is staying in to help pass block, and then when no one's there, he knows where to leak out into that check down area. A lot of that's experience. A lot of that's just being a veteran and understanding when I can and can't sort of release out. I got to go back and look at the film, but I don't know if Jeremiah Cobb is never really, it seems like, there for a check down. I do remember one time in particular where he was, and it ended in a sack. Not saying that was his fault, but that takes a lot of experience. When is the pocket good enough? How do I know 100% sure my pass blocking responsibilities are not needed and I can leak out and help the quarterback? That takes reps. That takes experience. Damari just seems to have sort of a knack for when it's time for him to leak out and help. And you saw a couple completions, and I think one of them picked up a first down. Like you saw a couple of those out of him. I think all three of his receptions were on check down plays, and all of them were pretty solid gains. That's a piece of the puzzle to me that Jeremiah Cobb doesn't quite have yet. So you really don't have a true guy yet, and that's okay because they complement each other really well. But what's funny is they complement each other in the opposite way that I expected they would complement each other. You would expect Jeremiah Cobb to be your check down guy. You'd expect Damari to be your every down carry running back. So they kind of flip-flop. I really like the 1-2 punch, though. I don't know that you necessarily need to have a running back number one that just gets the bulk of everything. Jeremiah's earned the right to go out there first, but I think it's a really good 1-2 punch. Let me know what you think in the comments. Got to utilize Cam more. Got to figure out how to turn him into a check down, but a check down that's maybe 25, 30 yards down the field. The old close your eyes and heave it check down in his direction. And then Auburn's got to figure out the middle of the field. Got to figure out that 10 to 20 yard go zone. We're just completely abandoning it. And I think other teams know that. And that's going to make it hard. It's all or nothing. It's either short or deep, and that's pretty much it. And that's hard to kind of maintain. That's hard, especially if you're going on 10, 12 play drives. That's tough, man. All right, we're moving forward. We're about to taking on Texas A&M. We got to make some stuff happen. Need a great week of practice. We're going to be there tomorrow to watch practice. We're going to be there today for the press conference. Anxious to see what Hugh has to say about this past weekend, some of the officiating, some of this, some of that. We'll keep you updated on that as well. Guys, really appreciate it. It's another episode of the Top Button Podcast. Stay buttoned.
Thanks for listening, and drive home safely.